We are just 2 weeks out from the 2023 Arnold Strongman Classic and the first ever Arnold Strongwoman Classic. And as you can see, Liz and myself are super excited. So here's 23 facts and stats about the 2023 Arnolds. Auntie Liz, another major competition coming up, so it's time to show us your stats. Stats.
So for the second consecutive year and the fifth time ever, there are no returning champions to this year's Arnold Strongman Classic, which means we are guaranteed a new winner, and this winner will become the 9th title winner at the Arnolds. The 8 athletes who have won the competition so far are Mark Henry, Zydrunas Savickas, Derek Poundstone, Brian Shaw, Mike Jenkins, Vitalij Lalas, Hathor Bjornsson, and most recently Martins Lisis.
And of course, while this is the debut year of the Arnold Strongwoman Classic, we have had the Arnold Strongwoman Pro competition, which has taken place at the Expo. We have 3 former winners from that competition that will be competing this year, and they are Donna Moore, Olga Lashuk, and most recently, Victoria Long.
In this year's lineup, only one athlete has competed at the Arnold Strongman Classic more than twice before, and that is Mateusz Kiliashkovski. Now, he pulled out of last year's competition with injury, but this year will make his 7th appearance at the Arnold Strongman Classic.
So let's take a quick look at the athletes that have competed at the Arnolds before and their best placings. At the top of this list, we have Mateusz Kiliashkovski, who, as already mentioned, will be competing for the 7th time, with his best finish to date being 2nd place. This will be the first time we see Thomas Evans, Mitch Hooper, and Pavlo Nekonechny at the Arnold Strongman Classic.
Thor Bjornsson won the Arnold Strongman Classic for the first time in 2018 at his 7th appearance. Now, if Mateusz Kiliashkovski was to win the competition this year, which also happens to be on his 7th appearance, then he would join Thor as the only men to take more than 2 appearances at the show before winning the title.
So as well as having a guaranteed new Arnold Strongman Classic winner this year, it's more than likely we're going to have new event winners as well. Out of the 7 athletes that have competed at the Arnolds before, only 3 of them have won events at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Kiliashkovski has won 7 events so far, 1 in 2018, 2 in 2019, and an incredible 4 in 2020. Maxime Boudreau has won 1 event at last year's competition, which was the Timber Carry, and Luke Stoltman also won an event last year, which was the Max Log.
At 38 years old, if Luke Stoltman was to win the Arnolds this year, he would become the 2nd oldest athlete to do so, behind Zydrunas Savickas, who won the competition in 2016, aged 40 years and 235 days. He was a master, Lozzie, a master.
I've got no excuse, have I?
No one has.
So at the other end of the scale, we have 2 rookies this year that could become the youngest ever winners of the Arnold Strongman Classic. Pavlo Nekonechny, who's 25, and Mitchell Hooper, who's 27, both have a chance of beating Derek Poundstone's record. Derek Poundstone was 27 and 161 days old when he won the title for the first time in 2009.
And speaking of young blood, 6 of the 10 athletes competing this year are in their 20s, with Pavlo Nekonechny, of course, being the youngest at 25 years old. Now, I don't know if I'm crazy, but this feels like quite a young lineup for the Arnolds.
Obviously, we've seen younger athletes compete,
Yeah,
but we've kind of, it's almost like a passing of the guards. We've got a lot of those greats kind of no longer turning up at these competitions, and it's a new breed of athletes that are coming through. And, you know, there's always exceptions to the rule, but age does catch up with most athletes. And yeah, looking at that, it's a young looking lineup.
If Mateusz Kiliashkovski can make it back onto the Arnold Strongman Classic podium, this would be his 4th time in a top 3 spot at the competition. And such an achievement would tie him for 3rd place, along with Thor Bjornsson, Mikhail Kuklayev and Derek Poundstone for having 4 podium finishes at the Arnolds. However, the award for the most podium finishes at the Arnolds, first off in 2nd place is Brian Shaw with 7, and in 1st place, unsurprisingly, Zydrunas Savickas with an incredible 12 podium finishes at the Arnolds.
I think between those 2 guys, they must have like almost every record going.
Yeah, pretty much.
At least one American has stood on the podium at the last 14 Arnold Strongman Classics. With the likes of Trey Mitchell, Bobby Thompson, Rob Kearney and Thomas Evans competing, there's a high likely chance that it does.
If Thomas Evans, Pavlo Nekonechny or Mitch Hooper can win an event at their debut performance at the Arnolds, then they'll join a really short list of just 4 rookies who took an event victory in the last decade. And that list currently consists of Maxime Boudreau and Luke Stoltman, who both won an event in their debut appearance last year. But otherwise, you have to go as far back as 2013, when Vitytas Lalas won the dumbbell press and Krzysztof Radziakowski won the Austrian oak, and both were in their rookie year at the Arnolds.
I can definitely see Nekonechny or Mitch Hooper winning an event this year.
Yeah.
Thomas Evans makes his first appearance at the Arnold Strongman Classic after winning the Amateur World Championships in 2022. Since the first Arnold Amateurs in 2010, it has been a roller coaster ride for the competition's champions as they've made their debut at the Arnold Strongman Classic, with only 2 athletes finishing in the top 6. As you can see, the best 2 finishers were Mike Jenkins in 2011, finishing in 2nd place, who went on to win the title, and Mateusz Kieliszkowski from Poland, who was 3rd in 2015.
And on a similar note, it is important to keep an eye on the amateur championships. 7 of the 10 athletes in this year's lineup started out at the Arnold Amateur Strongman World Championships, and this is how they did. In 2013, Maxime came 20th. In 2014, Mateusz won the competition. In 2015, Rob Kearney was 4th. In 2015, Tom Stoltman was 20th. In 2016, Trey Mitchell tied for 9th place. In 2019, Bobby Thompson won the competition. And of course, in 2022, Thomas Evans won the competition.
And none of these athletes took part in the Amateur World Championships twice.
No, that's true.
Which is unusual, because I know when you win the Amateur Arnolds, you get to go onto the pro show. But, you know, we saw there, Tom Stoltman was 20th. You think maybe he would have gone back, but there are other routes to get to those pro levels. And it's quite interesting looking back to see someone like Tom, who's a 2-time champion, placing 20th in an amateur competition. It shows you never know how far you can come in a short period of time. Only 3 nation flags have ever flown at the top of the Arnold Strongman Classic podium. Those 3 nations are Lithuania, Iceland, and the United States of America. Canada, Great Britain, Poland and the Ukraine could all get their first Arnold Strongman Classic victory this year.
It would be a first podium at this competition for Canada if either Mitch Hooper or Maxime Boudreau can make the top 3. Canada's best result so far is 4th place thanks to JF Caron in 2020.
It will be the 4th time we've seen the Wheel of Pain used in competition, and here are the best results so far. One thing that interests me about these top 5 results is it doesn't include Tom Stoltman's distance at the Rogue Invitational. However, that was done on grass, this is indoors, so that could potentially make a difference. And 5 of the 10 athletes competing this year have competed in the Wheel of Pain before. Here are their best results so far. As you can see, Kieliszkowski is top of the list there with 34.14 metres at the 2020 Arnold Strongman Classic. However, I just did mention Tom Stoltman's distance of 27.2 was done at the Rogue Invitational, which was on grass.
This will be the 8th time that we've seen the Austrian oak for reps at the Arnold Strongman Classic. This year, the athletes will have a choice between the 175 kilo log or the 195 kilo log. So let's have a look at the best results on this event so far. Now, in previous years, they did use heavier logs, and the best ever results all belong, of course, to Zydrunas Savickas, who has managed 4 reps with the 205 kilo Austrian oak on 2 separate occasions.
Zydrunas is also in 3rd place with 4 reps with a 200 kilo log. It's amazing they've had to lower the weight of this log.
Yeah.
It's how challenging it is and how dominant Zydrunas was. You can see there, 2017, Hafthor Julius Bjornsson managing 3 reps on the 195.
Which is the best result we've seen with the log choices that our athletes are going to have this year.
The Rogue Elephant Bar deadlift will be used for the 7th time in competition, and it was introduced back in 2016. The world record belongs to Hafthor Julius Bjornsson at 474 kilos. He tried to lift 501 kilos on this bar, got it up to his knees, couldn't quite lock it out. The question is, can anyone beat it this year? So 5 of our athletes that are competing this year have lifted on this bar before, and this is their best lift so far.
This will be the first time ever that we see the Unspunnen stone throw in a strongman competition. The current world record for the furthest distance thrown belongs to Marcus Mehr, who threw it 4.11 meters back in 2004. Do you think it will go? It's impossible to judge.
Do you know what? The Arnolds have been renowned for bringing classic events back into strongman, and every time they do, we see these records taken up and up and up. I really think we will see a new record on this stone. An Arnold Strongman Classic staple event, the timber carry, has been used 18 times so far. 7 of our 10 athletes have taken part in this before, and these are their best results. As you can see, Kilishkovsky is blisteringly fast at this, but Maxime Boudreau put in a solid performance last year. It's going to be important for those other guys to try and improve on their previous performances.
And finally, we will have one previous champion present at the event this year. The one and only Mark Henry, the first Arnold Strongman Classic champion, will be back on the mic for the first time since 2019.
And you know what? I've never met Mark, so I'm looking forward to the chance to meet him. Maybe we can even sneak in a little interview.
Maybe. There you go then, Lozzie. Did you like my stats?
I always love your stats, Auntie Liz. Obviously, it's always interesting to look back at what's happened in the past. This year, we have the women to look forward to as well. I'm sure we're going to see some incredible performances all round. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys soon. Take care.